Good morning, good morning, good morning. Our report is December the 19th, 2019. My name is Tyria Grimes. Some of y'all might know me as Miss Louise. Some of y'all may know me as Ty. Some of you may know me as so many other things, but I want majority of you to know me, every one of you to know me as a child of God. I have been through a lot in life, not like some others. Some worse than others, some lesser than others. However, I've had my fair share, as many have said, but I've also had my fair share of changing my life, not continuing to go through those evolving doors. But I've learned in the process of going through those evolving doors or going through those doors through a straight path as those doors may not have opened. Those doors may have opened and those doors may have shut. Those doors that you come in, some may welcome you and some may not. Some may love you and some may not. Some may pretend to befriend you when all along there was a motive behind it. Well, the other day I learned that you could trust some, you could love them, you could look up to them since you was little. But in the end, do they really love themselves? Because as I tell many people, you don't let nobody take your character away. You don't let nobody belittle you. You don't settle for less. Along the path that we walk or that we grow into in life, you learn a lot. You see a lot. You do a lot. And you take in a lot. But you don't forget. Some things you do, but some things you don't. And what you don't forget a lot of times is traumatic things that happen to your life, the eventful things that happen into your life to change your life. And a lot of things you don't forget is when people try to tear you down as you are building up. I had someone tell me, let me inform some of you who may not know, 1990, Easter Sunday, I was shot. I was shot in my head, in the front. That bullet exploded in my head. And fragments are scattered around my brain. And the biggest part of the bullet, I was told years ago, is within my brain. I wanted to know, I heard this, but I wanted to know for myself. So a couple of years ago, I want to say 2014, 15, or 15, 16, somewhere in that timeline, I went to Cleveland Clinic with my neurologist, and we did a sleep study. That means no medication. They want to see what happens. Well, what happened, and they record it. And what happens is, if I didn't take my medication, which is a seizure medication, for a few days, I'd have a seizure. So it took the third day, and I had a seizure. Boy, I ain't like it. But anyway, I'm saying all this to say God has plans. God sets miracles. God is a miracle worker. And I believe that because I remember coming up in Sunday school, we were just always reading stories about how he walked on water, how he fed 1,000, how he healed the leopard, how he healed the blind and the deaf, and he made the lame walk, and he removed the sores. He helped Noah build the ark. He did many, many wonders. So if he could do them then, he can do them today. Well, however, he did a miracle when he created me. When he allowed that man to shoot me, but he brought me through that coma that I was in. When the doctors told me that I was going to be a vegetable, my son was going to be retarded. Well, I'm no near from a vegetable. I came out that coma, no matter how long it was. I came out that coma, and I had a praying grandmother right beside me the whole time, praying me out that coma. And I think, and amongst many others, I thank God for that, because when I was shot, that hospital room was, I remember seeing that it was just full. People was there. People were there. And I thank God for those who did come. And I thank God for those prayers, because if it had not been for you, and if it had not been for the Lord on my side, I would not know where what I'd be today. But something that happened, and I can't seem to get it out my mind. Years ago, I didn't pay attention to what people said. I ain't pay attention to what people do, because it didn't make me no difference. It wasn't feeding me. It wasn't clothing me. It wasn't helping my children. None of that. But today I pay attention to what people do. Because one day my child or my grandchild need an answer. And I'm going to be able to give them that answer. I can give them that answer. Well, however, a pastor, she told me once when I came home from prison years ago, I'll never forget, I went to a church, and the pastor asked me, "What do you want?" Because we don't have nothing. I ain't even asked her for anything. I was standing in line waiting to get prayer. I ain't even get the prayer. I walked out the church. Because if that's how you greet me, that's how you do me, then what about your others? Because I ain't worried about how you do me, because God got me. He had me the whole time I was locked up, incarcerated, with no family members, with no friends, no visits, no letters. My grandmother would write, or my grandfather would write when he was living every once in a while. But other than that, I didn't get no pictures from friends, so-called friends. I didn't get no letters from so-called friends. And it's not about, and family members, and it's not about playing the victim, because I was fine. I didn't come home complaining. I came home doing whatever I need to be done to get what I need to get, to do what I have to do. So then I thought. But in the midst of all of that, I still kept God. So I stayed away from the church. Getting back to the stories. I've stayed away from the church and continued to live that life that I was living, because I didn't have to ask nobody for nothing. Nothing. One day I decided I want to change my life. And I was sitting in a bus stop in Akron, at one of their, like, Ohio Means job centers. Coming from there, I was staying in the halfway house in Akron on federal probation. Coming from prison, you had to go to a halfway house. So I ended up in Akron. And I knew that was my last day, because the next day I was going home. But as I was sitting in that bus station and I was waiting on the bus, a deep breath came out of nowhere. A breath that I had never took or intended on taking. But that deep breath, I took it. And so I knew when I was coming home, things was changing. It was going to change. My daughters had their houses and, the children. I was becoming more and more of a grandmother. And they started having songs for me to listen to. They had job opportunities for me to go see about. They was trying to make a life for their mom, because they didn't want their mom to go back to prison. They did not want that. And they wanted me to be surrounded by my grandchildren. But I didn't see that. I see that today. I didn't see that. I continued to want to do me. I wasn't ready to get my thoughts together. I wasn't ready to yet lead that life. I was ready to find me a job, yeah. So it was easy to get the job. It was so easy to get the job. But I loved it because I was working with people, and I was working with people, family members who would leave their family members, or people wasn't treating the family members right. And I would always say, which was a home health aide job, I would always say, if that was me, I wouldn't want nobody to treat me like the way some of these people was treated. But I loved my job. I loved my hours. I loved the pay. But I didn't manage my money right. So I had to learn to manage my money because I wasn't used to it. So I'm still yet learning, and I'm quite sure everybody else is too. Because don't nobody do right by what their money. Don't nobody do right by their businesses. Some do, but some don't. Some have a tendency to pull a wool over your head. And some expect you to follow that wool that they done pulled over the others' heads. I can't do that. So I partake in another situation, shall I say, because that's what it was. It was a situation because I didn't understand why a person would come to me and say, well, hey, why don't you do this, that, and the other? And when I say things like, because I try to prevent not putting people's name on here, but to tell me that I'm lying, and I have no clue as to what I'm lying about. But God does. God does. And then to use or to bring up the fact that, oh, you've been shot and I know you have a mental problem, and stop lying. This is all it kept saying. What? You are supposed to be people of God. You run a church. You don't believe in the miracles of God? Or do you preach about the miracles God can perform? Do you preach about the healing God can do? Do you preach about God can take your hand and lead you down a straighter and brighter path? Do you preach about God is the God of all gods? God is a supernatural God. God makes the rights wrong. He makes the wrongs right. He makes the left go right. He makes the right go left. He makes the crooked go straight. He makes the lame walk. He makes the blind see. He makes the deaf hear. He makes those who don't want to sit down, he makes them sit down. And that's what he did to me. And to prevent of sitting down, he showed me what family can do, friends can do, people you don't know can do. He showed me to be careful who you walk with, be careful who you talk with. He told me you cannot trust everybody. But he didn't so much as tell me, but he showed me. So everything that I go through and everything that I say, I pray about. I read about. I get up first thing in the morning and I just open my word and I read. I haven't even got out the bed. I got out the bed to use the bathroom, put some Noxzema on my face because in a little while I got to get ready for work. But I just want to let you know the goodness of God. No matter what people say or what people do, don't let them have you thinking that, okay, you done been to prison, you done went through this traumatic event, you done went through sexual abuse, mental abuse, domestic violence, any of this, that you can't get your head right. Whether it be women or men, because you can. Because you can. Don't have them thinking that because you went through something that what they say out your mouth is true. No, because they're pastors or they're members of the church. Just because so, is their heart right with God? Is their mind right with God? Yes, we all make mistakes. We all do something. And we all think that, okay, well, I'm not going to say all. I'm going to take that back. Most, and they think they do it behind closed doors, as my pastor was saying last Sunday. You think you do it behind closed doors, and he always say that. You think you do it behind closed doors, but God sees it. God sees it. But you can't talk to people any kind of way and think that's okay. And God is not going to have any repercussions of that. Know this. I am a child of God. I come from grandparents who were praying parents, who were praying people. They was always praying, always read. My grandfather was always reading his Bible, whether it was in the bed, whether it was at his table, whether it was in church. He was always reading his Bible. I ain't understand, but now I understand because he was getting that knowledge that he needed. He was molding to be able to show me, as I can show others, why my grandfather used to read the Bible all the time. He used to have one of them big old Bibles. I never really seen him with a little Bible. I always seen him with one of them big old-fashioned Bibles, maybe ones that they first made. I don't know, but I got to get ready for work because it's been 15 minutes already. I love you, and as I stated, my name is Tyria Grimes. I always tell my son, my name is Tyria Grimes. And today, I am a child of God. And let nobody or nothing change the way you want to walk, talk, see, hear, or eat. Or sit for that matter. But God.